He was just a country boy from Kurow. Raised on a quiet sheep farm in the South Island of New Zealand, Richie McCaw never set out to become a legend. There were no bright lights or camera crews on that farmland, just rolling hills, open skies, and the kind of silence that builds grit. But somewhere between feeding sheep and flying glider planes, a leader was born, one who would go on to carry the weight of a nation, not through noise, not through ego, but through character. Born on December 31st, 1980, Richie was the kind of kid who spent more time looking up at the clouds than down at his boots. His fascination with flight began early, and the feeling of soaring, of seeing the bigger picture, would become a metaphor for how he saw the game of rugby. That same sense of clarity, of freedom, helped him understand the field in ways others couldn't. Richie's story wasn't about raw talent. He wasn't the fastest. He wasn't the flashiest. But what he lacked in natural gifts, he made up for with an unmatched obsession with improvement. At Otago Boys High School, he already stood out, not because he shouted, but because he showed up. He became head boy, chosen through respect, not popularity. On the field, he started to reveal the instincts that would later define him as a world-class flanker. Relentless pursuit, clean technique, and a mind built for pressure. After high school, McCaw continued to climb the ranks in the brutally competitive New Zealand rugby system. He played for Canterbury and the Baby Blacks, sharpening every part of his game. In 2001, after only one season in the National Provincial Championship, he got the call every Kiwi dreams of, selection to the All Blacks. Many were shocked. Rugby legend Josh Kronfeld even mocked the decision, saying, "You might as well give All Black jerseys to everyone." Richie didn't say a word, he let his game speak. And in just his second test match, he was named man of the match. From that point on, Richie McCaw wasn't a prospect, he was a force. He earned the respect of teammates, the trust of coaches, and the admiration of a nation that demands excellence. By the early 2000s, McCaw was everywhere. With the Crusaders, he won Super Rugby titles. With the All Blacks, he helped dominate the Tri-Nations. He was a nightmare at the breakdown, a wall in defense, and a smart link between forwards and backs. He made the impossible look routine. He wasn't just playing the game, he was redefining it. But no journey to greatness is without scars. In 2007, New Zealand entered the Rugby World Cup as favorites. They had dominated the sport for 2 years straight. The trophy was supposed to come home, but in the quarterfinals, France shocked the world. Another early exit, another heartbreak. The backlash was immediate and brutal. Media outlets slammed the coaching staff. Fans felt betrayed, and Richie, now captain, came under fire. Critics accused him of poor leadership. They questioned his emotional strength, but Richie didn't lash out. He didn't make excuses. He owned it, and he changed. Greatness isn't about being perfect. It's about growing when the world tells you you failed. McCaw didn't hide from the loss. He studied it. He evolved his game. He built a stronger version of himself, more physical, more strategic, more aware. He became the kind of leader who didn't need to yell to command respect. He led by presence, by calm, by absolute commitment to the jersey. In 2011, that evolution would be tested like never before. The Rugby World Cup returned to New Zealand for the first time since 1987. The pressure was overwhelming, the expectation crushing, and to make matters worse, Richie was carrying a severe foot injury, torn ligaments, barely able to walk, but he refused to sit out. He played through the pain, he led with courage, and when the final whistle blew against France, again, it was New Zealand that stood victorious. 8-7, 1 point, but it was enough. The 24-year drought was over, and Richie, he was a national hero. After that kind of redemption, most players would retire, go out on top, but Richie wasn't most players. He kept going. He understood that maintaining greatness is harder than reaching it. He began using sabbaticals to manage his body, training smarter, conserving energy for the moments that mattered most. By 2015, the All Blacks were aiming for something no team had ever done, win back-to-back World Cups. The squad was stacked with legends, Dan Carter, Kieran Reid, Mayor Nonu, Conrad Smith, but the heart of the team, the anchor, was still Richie. They stormed through the tournament. Every match was a statement, and in the final, against Australia, they left no doubt. The All Blacks became the first team to win 2 World Cups in a row, and McCaw, he cemented his legacy as the greatest captain the game had ever seen. After the 2015 final, Richie walked off the field for the last time. No big announcement, no farewell tour, just a quiet, dignified exit. True to his character, he had given everything to the black jersey. day. There was nothing left to prove and nothing left to take. He once said, "I don't believe in magic, I believe in hard work." And for 148 test matches, 110 of them as captain, he lived those words. His list of achievements is staggering. 2 World Cups, 4 Super Rugby titles, 10 Rugby Championships, 9 Bledisloe Cups, and 3 World Rugby Player of the Year awards. But stats don't define McCaw, character does. Even after retirement, Richie stayed true to his roots. He didn't chase fame. He didn't cash in. Instead, he flew helicopters for search and rescue missions, served his community, and mentored young athletes. He remained grounded, just like that boy from Kurow, a man who never let success change his values. He continues to inspire, not just athletes, but anyone who believes in quiet strength and steady leadership. Kids still wear the number 7 jersey, dreaming of becoming the next McCaw, but those who watched him know there will never be another quite like him. Steve Hansen called him possibly the greatest All Black ever, considering the names he stands beside: Jonah Lomu, Dan Carter, Colin Meads. That says everything. Richie McCaw wasn't loud, he wasn't flashy, he just got the job done every time. Opponents called him born offside because he always seemed to be in the right place. Coaches called him irreplaceable. Teammates called him the foundation. Fans called him a hero. And the game simply calls him a legend. Richie McCaw didn't just captain a team, he carried a country. He didn't just win matches, he inspired generations. He was, without a doubt, the real McCoy. Even after his retirement, Richie McCaw's presence remained everywhere in New Zealand rugby. Young flankers studied his every movement. Coaches still referenced his decision-making. Broadcasters couldn't speak of All Black greatness without invoking his name. And fans still wore black jerseys with the number 7 stitched proudly on the back, as if it were armor. But McCaw never allowed his shadow to eclipse others. He celebrated the rise of new leaders, mentored from a distance, and never chased attention. He understood legacy not as something you cling to, but as something you pass on. And perhaps that's why his influence remains so powerful. It was never forced. It was earned, then given freely. Richie redefined what it meant to be an All Black captain. Not just to win, but to uplift. Not just to dominate, but to inspire. His name wasn't just etched in record books. It was engraved in the culture of the sport itself. Away from the pitch, McCaw's life took on a new form, but not a new purpose. He turned to aviation again, flying helicopters in search and rescue missions, putting his calm under pressure to use in ways that saved lives. He also gave his time to charity work, education programs, and motivational speaking, always with the same understated grace that defined his playing days. He didn't seek headlines, he never needed the spotlight. What mattered to Richie was purpose. Whether leading a team out onto Eden Park or piloting through rugged terrain to aid someone in distress, McCaw remained true to his core, calm, committed, and humble. His post-rugby life stands as proof that character isn't just something worn on the field. It's who you are when the cameras are off. And in that quiet excellence, Richie McCaw continues to lead by example, even in retirement.